to be a craft person in Somerset is incredible because there are so many of us, and I don't know whether it's the place, it's very inspiring, or the legend, the myth, the history, but it attracts a lot of wacky, dreamy, creative people, doesn't it?
My name is David Brown, and I've lived in Somerset for a number of years. And my practice is in making of lettering in stone and wood. The Somerset Craft Guild, formerly the Somerset Guild of Craftsmen, was founded in 1933 by Colonel Garton. And I came on the scene when we moved to Somerton in the early part of the century. And came up through normal membership as being a collection of people with interest in craft, and moved through the ranks, as it were, and became master for a short period, 3 years or so, to succeed other people who became friends and have remained as friends. So it has, over its years, been a huge occupation in many ways, but to be associated with other craftspeople has been such a pleasure. And long may it continue with the help of Somerset Art Works.
Initially it was just, we had one exhibition a year. It was really big. There were a lot of guild members, and that was their opportunity to actually showcase what they were doing in the little studio hidden from everywhere. So it was very, very, extraordinary. It was a fabulous display of what was happening in Somerset. The one that really, really got the guild off was when David got the place in Somerton. That was really, really wonderful. And David was the master then, and he was incredibly instrumental in changing things. And I think the guild took off as a selling platform and exposing its member when we moved to Somerton and we had the place there. What was really lovely was, because we all helped out in the shop, how proud people were to come and buy things that were actually handmade and local. A small town, so everybody knew each other, and it was a kind of meeting place, where people were, it was just fabulous, really interested and proud to be discovering what was being made in the area.
I've been associated with them a very long time. I can't really remember, it must be over 20 years. And I volunteered in the gallery in Wells and met all the other craftsmen of Somerset, and I've loved it. I really have loved being part of it. I just started as an ordinary exhibitor, but then I got put on the committee and then the board, and they ended up the treasurer. And to be part of that group of fantastic artists was very special, and a very important part of my life.
Well, the Masters Board is the record of people who have been masters of the Guild since its foundation in 1933. And I was master at the time and asked to do the lettering. I didn't make the board itself, but I did the lettering. It was a challenging exercise because I'd only at that time recently had tuition in how to cut letters in wood, which is very different from cutting in stone. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing it, and now it remains as a record of the masters over the years.
Somerset obviously gives me wonderful opportunity to do what I love best, which is to photograph rural characters, anything to do with the farming world, the lovely rich people that we have in Somerset. I've got a photograph of a basket maker, and I love my Somerset baskets. I've got lots and lots of them. I use them, go shopping all the time. And the I've just been drawn the attention, this wonderful man, and I so wanted to see him work and really take a photograph of him because I just admired his basket so much. So I in fact went on a course that he ran on chair making just so I could meet him, and so I did go on the course and I did ask him and I did take a picture, and it was a great thrill to see him working and make a basket in front of, in 20 minutes from scratch from a pile of old sticks. It's pretty inspirational.
Hi, my name's Jo Entwistle and I am an emerging basket maker. The process I use is very traditional basket making techniques, and the material I use is all grown on the Somerset levels, and some I have planted at home, so I hope to be able to harvest that this spring and then make a basket from everything that's been homegrown. I discovered basket making by going on 2 one-day courses and absolutely fell in love with the process. It's so mindful when you get into the rhythm of the weave, and you can just lose yourself. And actually I'm very lucky to have a studio at home that I do come and hide away from the children and my husband, and I just lock myself away in my den and come out with a basket at the end of the day. But it's an absolute joy, and the process I have fallen in love with. I think basketry in particular is, or was, a dying craft, but is one that's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I think it's really important to keep these traditions alive. I feel really privileged to be able to work with Willow and carry on this traditional craft. There's so much I can do with it, and I'm only still learning. But there's baskets everywhere. Every home has a basket, and they are so functional, so practical, that I am really enjoying the journey that I'm on, and so much more to learn and so much more to make.
My name's Julia Thompson and I'm a jewellery designer maker, and I work primarily with silver and gold, but I've been working more in brass and larger sculptural pieces in the past couple of years, working with a fashion designer here in Somerset. So my skill set is very traditional handheld fabrication tools, but I do a little bit of acid etching and casting. I also teach some of my skill set, and all these skills were learned through another member of the guild called Pylle. So I worked for Pylle, sort of like an apprentice for 4 years from 2004 to 2008. So yeah, I've been self-employed now since 2009 and a guild member from then as well. Ethics are really important to me and my business, being able to offer my clients knowledge of where their gemstones come from, where the silver and gold is mined, is of utmost importance. So since 2015 I have been a Fair Trade Gold registered jeweller, and then quite recently I became a Fair Trade Gold licensee. What I love about what I do, and especially when I teach, is bringing people in, giving them some handheld tools, the focus of sitting at the bench peg and making something with your hands. There's nothing like it. And then to leave with something tangible at the end. For me, when I design something and I turn it over in my head for weeks, maybe months, but actually at the end when I physically made it and it's tangible and it's an object that someone will then want to wear and cherish for the rest of their lives, hopefully, it's really important to keep those skills alive. And Pylle, who trained me, it's like I want to pass on those skill sets.
It means a lot to me to be a craftsman in Somerset, because Somerset is part of my heritage, although I wasn't born here, and I love the countryside, and I get a lot of inspiration from wildlife and nature and the things that are around me. My name is Sue Byrne. I'm a glass engraver, which I've been doing since 2001. Glass is amazing stuff because it's very, very fragile, but if you look after it, it could last 1,000,000 years. So what else could I make that might still be here long, long time in the future? And it's got a magic all of its own. When you're engraving on glass, you're almost releasing the light from inside the glass. And when I do work on coloured glass with layers, I'm releasing, I think, what's inside there already and the colours that are inside that you can't see till I start engraving them. When I'm starting a piece of glass engraving, I do a lot of research first and I gather imagery that I fancy using, and then I will either draw it straight onto the glass with a marker pen, or I might transfer a design using, it's a type of special carbon type paper. Once I've got the design on there, I will go over the outline very carefully, and then I will use a selection of different kinds of burrs on the end of my micro drill to be able to carve and then deeply carve perhaps some sections of the engraving. I think craft is something that gives a huge amount to those who do it and gives a lot of pleasure to the people who buy the items. After all, we don't really live just to make money and work. Art is there to give us all the reasons for living. Without art, what would be the point, really? Art is in everything. And to make things with your hands means a lot. And I think people appreciate handmade things and the love and the care that's gone into them.
Somerset is very important to me for a number of reasons. I mean, first and foremost, the beauty of the county. It's a fantastic county. I love walking on the levels and stuff, but I've also picked up materials from these places. I use a clay, not as a clay for making pots, but a clay that I use in a glaze that I found on a riverbank somewhere over on the levels. And I thought, well, that looks like a nice, interesting clay. So I took it home and I've made a beautiful glaze out of it. And the raw materials as well, a lot of them come from Somerset. There's a quarry up in Dunster that is a roadstone quarry, and the dust that comes off of the bottom of the escalators, we picked up a whole load of it and we use it in a glaze again. So I'm always trying to use materials, local materials that I can use in my pots, just to give you an authentic, different thing. My name's Simon Eales. I'm a ceramicist. I've been working with pots now for 46 years. I make different styles of ceramics. I do stoneware, wood-fired stoneware, wood-fired porcelain and raku. What I've been specialising in recently is the copper fumed raku, and that is copper oxide that's fused onto the pot at about 1,000 degrees and then lifted out of the kiln and placed into burning sawdust. The sawdust catches fire and it leaves these lovely patterns on the pot. It's been likened to oil on water, the northern lights, the sort of clusters of stars being born in nebulas, that sort of lovely intense colour, everything like that. And so that's what I've been specialising in the last 3 or 4 years. I'm passionate about people getting the opportunity to work with their hands and their artistic side of nature. People that are not particularly good at the scholastic side of things are sometimes very good with their hands. And nowadays they just haven't got the chance because they don't get that chance at school, and less colleges are doing it. So I think it's quite important that craftsmen can almost step into that role of giving the opportunity to young people to have a go. And I quite often will have an open day or something where I get children to have a go on the wheel, you know, sort of thing. And you can just see the love of it straight away, getting their hands on the clay and everything. So I think it's important that we can almost fill that gap of teaching, keeping craft alive.
For a craft person, I do feel like it's a very slow making process, and that I value a lot in this fast-paced world where everything is so fast and we don't have time to like just sit down and do something for ourselves. So I think craft is that part of in my life where I just pause for some time and just forget about the world. I'm Sujata Bharti. I'm an artist based in Somerset. My work explores invisibility, belonging, and identity through domestic materials, found objects, and also taking influence from traditional craft practice. I usually grow up in very different culture, and having this art career is very different over there. But based in Somerset, I feel like it's very, very important to give light on these like emerging artists, or like how they grow up being an artist here. From last year, we got like the platform for workshop and exhibition where my skill was exhibited, and I feel really valued for the emerging craft person to have these platforms around them. I feel really valued to be part of in Somerset art community here. Like people do appreciate the skills, and like kind of upcoming exhibition like a craft skill. It's very important to have these kind of platforms here in Somerset because it really give you the opportunity to show your skills to wider community and audience. Um, and you never know when you get a chance from there to like grow further.